Hi guys, it's Sharonda Isadora and welcome to Brazen Babe Reviews. And it's Monday night and that means it is time for 911 the recap. So let's get to it, shall we? Alright, so this is episode 5. And of course, I did not write down the name of the episode. I'm going to get the hang of this. 5 episodes in, I think I should, and I haven't, so I don't know. But as always, I will link it. Not even link it, but you'll see it in the bottom of the screen. So thank you so much for joining me. And we had another exciting episode of 911. I enjoyed it for the most part. So we basically start off that episode with this woman. She is a scammer. So basically what she's doing is she's going around inside of parking lots of like supermarkets, Walmarts, stuff like that. And pretending like when people are like backing out of their parking spaces or whatever, she's putting herself in the back of their cars to pretend like the car has bumped into her so she can sue or get money. And that is actually a real thing, because I remember like a couple of years ago, this lady actually tried that while me and my sister were out, and we promptly told her ass like, we know what you're doing and we ain't playing with you, so get your ass out of here. It was ridiculous. But anyway, it's like, people are just ridiculous. So anyway, at some point in time, the lady actually gets caught in it. Like, she was actually about to get behind this senior citizen, this older lady, and she actually got hit by, actually got really hit by another vehicle that just hit her and kind of like just drove off or whatever. So anyway, when Athena and the firefighters come, Bobby and the team come, they see that they know who it is, because she was actually someone that has been caught before, that was actually going on people's porches and actually stealing their packages and stuff. So they already knew this woman and knew what a scammer she was and all this other drama. So it started off pretty funny or whatever, but it was just like whatever. So we pan to Maddie. She's at the 911 center and she's actually getting some phone calls, and she's getting frustrated. She gets this very rude phone call from this woman. The woman is like cussing her out and all this other mess. So she's a little bit, frustrated or whatever. So we have her where she jumps off the phone and she goes inside of the break room, and like this older woman comes in there that has been there for a long time. She's actually like giving Maddie advice, how to like, deal with it. And she just comes off like, she's an older woman, so she comes off as like really like, like a grandma type of a character. She's giving you good advice. I've been here for like 20 plus years, and how somebody been at the job for a long time and they're trying to tell you how to like deal with people and all that other stuff. So that's what Maddie is getting from, this woman. She's getting like really nice helper vibes or whatever. Bella, get out of here. So she's in a better mood, and the woman actually suggests that Abby goes on on like, oh God, how you like a ride along. She actually, because Maddie's like, when she was working in a hospital, she actually was there to like see the people and like get her hands like in the dirt and stuff like that. So dealing with them, like seeing them in person, made it much better than dealing with them over the phone, because sometimes when you're dealing with people on the phone, and this is just from me working in customer service, it is hard. People, it's a mess. So the woman actually suggests is that Maddie goes on like this this ride along with the police department to actually like, get herself acclimated, to actually see the people that are actually like placing the calls into the 911 center and stuff like that. Because she's like, you were already a nurse, and you can be out here with these 911, with the actual response workers, to see, to get to see how everything goes and all that other stuff. So she actually does that. But then we pan to the woman, and she's actually taking calls. And the woman that left the break room that was talking to Maddie is totally different. She's rude. She's cursing people out when they're calling to the 911 center. It was just like she did like a total 360. And I can understand, like being somewhere for a long time and being frustrated with people, when they're calling a service center of any kind or anything like that. But when it's like 911, it's just like, child, she was a mess. So we paying back to Maddie, and she's actually doing a 911 call with Athena. I mean, she's doing a ride along with Athena. And their first call was just like, oh my God, their first call, Bella. They come like they come across this older dude in the park, and he actually like collapses or whatever. And child, he ends up being a racist. He didn't want anybody helping him. He didn't want Athena helping him. He didn't want Bobby. He didn't want anybody on the response team or the rescue team, the firefight team, to help him anything, because nobody was like white or like purely white or whatever. It was just, and the thing was, the dude had a colostomy bag on, and it was just like when he was like basically refusing help because none of the operators were just like, well, Bobby and Cap and Buckley are white, but I can't wrap my head around not receiving help. I mean, this dude had on a colostomy bag, and he was in dire need of help, and he was in help so bad he was refusing help. He started actually, it was disgusting. He actually started throwing up shit. This dude, I just can't fathom the idea of hating somebody because of their skin so bad, or their skin color, or what, or their nationality or anything like that. Hating somebody that bad, that when it comes to me actually needing help, I'm not gonna accept their help, especially when I'm in dire need of it, because of their skin color or because of their nationality or because of their religion or anything. Like, that is the most asinine thing to me. But I know there are people out there like that. But you know what? To each his own. If your ass gonna die because you don't want a Muslim, or you don't want an Asian person, or you don't want a black person who is a trained professional to help you, y'all gotta get yourselves together, because y'all bugging way the fuck out. Like, that is, child, this is why I could never be in the medical field, because I would just be like, you know what, I have to walk away, because my attitude of late would be like, you know what, bitch, if you want to die. And the thing is, like, nobody on the response team could help him because he was refusing help. It was just like, what are you going to do with somebody that's refusing help? It's just like, and Kat couldn't really do anything because Kat wasn't a trained EMT. So, he was just pretty much there to supervise and stuff. He does the work too, but he wasn't a trained EMT. So he couldn't do anything to actually help. So it's just like, that, whatever. Boy, this day and age, yo, 2018, and y'all bugging all the way the fuck out. But okay. But we got an orange orangutan in office, so there you go. So the second call, we get Maddie and Athena. Athena gets a call and Maddie is still with her. They're not even like a second call. They were actually after shitbag and all his issues or whatever. Athena was like, let's go eat lunch, and Maddie's like, you're gonna eat lunch after that? Like, we actually just dealt with somebody with a shitbag, but okay, whatever. So they go eat lunch, but Athena like stop. They were going to go inside this Chinese restaurant, but Athena like stops her because Athena notices something weird about the Chinese restaurant. She notices that it's empty. Bella, she noticed that something weird is going on. It's like empty, and she notices like it's kind of like disarray or whatever. So she tells Maddie to hang back or whatever, and she actually goes inside. It's empty inside the restaurant, and she's walking through. She's calling for help. I mean, she's calling out, to see if anybody responds or whatever, and then she actually goes inside of the kitchen, and she sees the one of the I guess the cook or the owner or whatever. He's like really, really hurt, looks like he's been shot, and she actually brings in Maddie, and Maddie is actually able to like help, actually saves his life or whatever, whatever assistance that she's able to offer until actually to the actual 911 responders get there. But once they get the guy to like breathing and all the other stuff, he actually tells Athena and Maddie that he actually called the 911 center and he was hung up on. So they're both like, oh shit. So we pan back to the 911 center, and Maddie is actually telling her supervisor. Remember in my previous recap, I was telling you guys about the guy that was that was like training her, like when her earthquake hit or whatever, or was it episode before that, whatever. He was like training her or whatever and stuff. Like, he came off kind of like an asshole, whatever, but he didn't turn out. I guess, okay, he's not an asshole. So anyway, so she's actually telling him that she called. I mean that that the dude at the Chinese restaurant told her that he was hung up on when he called 911, and he's like, that's not true. Maybe the call dropped or whatever. So Maddie's looking at him like, yeah, I'm not believing that or whatever. So they actually go and listen to the call from the Chinese restaurant, and I knew it as soon when that dude told Athena and Maddie inside of the restaurant that when he called the 911 center and he was hung up on, already knew it was the older woman, already knew it was her. But they actually go and listen to the call, and what happens is she's listening to the call, and he's Asian, he's Chinese, so he has a little language barrier, difficulties or whatever. And she's like, oh, I can't understand you. You're talking it just like really like rude, like you're talking in another language. If you don't speak proper English or whatever, I'm gonna hang up on you. And she actually hung up on the dude. So what happens is Maddie and her supervisor ends up reporting. What was her name? Sorry, stop Bella. Her name was Roberta. They actually end up reporting Roberta to the higher ups or whatever. And we pan to a park scene. We have Henrietta, her wife, and we have Athena's ex-husband. Oh my God, Bella. We have Athena's ex-husband. They're like on a play date with the kids and stuff like that. Like Athena's son is playing with Henrietta's and her wife's son or whatever. So the kids are like playing, and we have the dog that's returned from the earthquake episode. He actually we actually see the kids playing with the dog, and the dog kind of like runs off a little bit. And of course we run into the crackhead baby mama. So she comes in and she's talking to the kids. So Athena, well, it was the scene kind of started off kind of like funny or whatever. And Athena's ex-husband was talking about like Bobby and the relationship between him and Athena, and he was saying like how his son is like comparing, like because Athena's ex-husband is architect or whatever. So the son was pretty much comparing like the ex-husband's job to Bobby's job and stuff like that. So Athena and Henrietta are kind of like, dude, you're his father. He's, anybody that comes inside of Athena's life is actually just going to be a bonus parent. Like how your boyfriend is probably like a bonus parent to, to the kids as well. So calm down. It's like, calm your nerves. It's going to be all right or whatever. So anyway, we pan to the scene, like I said, with the dog had done ran off, and we see this lady pick up the dog or whatever, and it turns out to be the crackhead ex-girlfriend of Henrietta's or whatever. So Henrietta and the wife, they run, and they like brush the kids off, whatever, and Henrietta's wife just immediately goes and like starts spazzing, like, what did you say to him? Pretty much, bitch, why you over here? All this other stuff, whatever. So she's just like, that crackhead. She want Henrietta back so bad. She done actually went and found her baby daddy, which I'm surprised she even remembered. Old crackhead ass. And she's like, she's basically she basically threatens Henrietta and the wife, basically saying that that the little boy's father, wants custody or whatever and stuff like that. But I don't even know why Athena and the wife got themselves like all like far as like the dude was concerned, but we really didn't know like how dude whatever or whatever. But he does have rights as a father, so if you wanted to contest like Henrietta and her wife like having custody or whatever, he surely could have. But that crackhead, I don't see any judge in his right mind ever letting that crackhead have custody of any goddamn body. So, but anyway, she threatens Henrietta and the wife, saying that she's going to get custody of the little boy, and pretty much her baby daddy is 100% behind her and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, this bitch, ooh, raggedy ass bitch. I was just like, oh, she made me so mad. That's my new saying for 2018 going into 2019. Raggedy ass bitches, and it's a lot of them out here. So anyway, so we pan back to the 911 center, and we actually have Granny, the older lady that was giving Maddie the advice in the beginning of the episode. She's actually inside of the office with the higher ups and stuff. And when Maddie comes in from her ride with Athena, her supervisor's pretty much telling her like, child. So Athena was like, what are they gonna like suspend her, whatever? I'm sorry, like Maddie's like, what are they gonna do, like suspend her, whatever? And dude is like, no, they're actually firing her because it comes to light that the lady didn't hang up, not only hung up on the dude that was in the middle of the robbery. This woman had done hung up on thousands and thousands of calls, and not only was she going to be fired, but she could also have charges pressed against her because she was hanging up on people in the middle of an emergency. It was just like, oh my God, it was a mess. So then I couldn't find out, because in the beginning of the episode, she was telling Maddie that her husband had died. Couldn't find out that her husband left her for her sister. So this lady was just having all types of problems or whatever. I don't think she could handle the calls that were coming into the 911 center. And then she was having her own personal problems where the husband had done left her for her sister. But it's just like, oh, what the fuck. So she was just, whatever issues and frustrations she was having in her personal life, she was taking it out on the people that were actually calling the 911 center. It was a mess. So when Maddie when Maddie and the dude is talking, the lady kind of like storms out of the office, and she pretty much threatens Maddie. I mean, this lady looking like somebody grandma actually told Maddie that snitches get stitches. I was like, bitch, no. Y'all gonna stop stealing our stuff. But anyway, it was pretty hysterical when she said that. But she was pretty much taking her problems out on Maddie. Like, she got caught, and instead of like taking responsibility for what she had done or what she was doing, she decided to take it out on Maddie because Maddie told on her. And it's just like, that you can't do that. It's like 911 calls. People are in the middle of emergencies, and yes, some people call 911 pretty much, with pranks and fucking around and stuff like that. But you can't be hanging up on people, lady. What are you doing? So yeah. So then we pan back to Henrietta. She's actually following the ex-girlfriend, and I was just like, oh, some shit about to go down. I was like, oh Lord, Henrietta. So she follows the ex-girlfriend back to a hotel. She sees her going up to the hotel room. So she's sitting inside of the car, and she's just staring. So she gets a call from the wife, and the wife is actually like apologizing because I skipped the part. I'm sorry. Like, after the park scene, when they got home, because Henrietta fucked around and ended up sleeping with the crackhead like a couple of, like, last season or whatever. She was feeling, she was feeling a little weak, and she messed around with the ex. It happens. I'm not excusing it, but it happens. So anyway, so when the scene at the park happened, when she threatened Henrietta and the wife, talking about some taking a little boy back and stuff like that, when they got home, the wife pretty much kind of like took her frustrations out on Henrietta and pretty much blamed Henrietta, like, this is your fault because you slept with her and, again, and you brought her back in our lives and all this other drama and stuff. So it was kind of like, ugh, well, kind of, sort of. But, not really, but kind of, sort of. But anyway, we're in the car. We're watching Henrietta watch the ex-girlfriend go up inside of the crackhead motel. So she gets a call from the wife, and the wife is like, I apologize, for taking my anger out on you early today. I'm just frustrated and all this other stuff. So she asks Henrietta where she at, and Henrietta's just like, I'm out for a ride, trying to like clear my head. I'm feeling a little angry. I got all this rage up in me and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh Lord, Henrietta, like, don't do nothing stupid. So she tells the wife, I'll be home in a bit. Don't worry about it, whatever. So they hang up. So Henrietta goes up to the hotel room, and she's banging on the door. What's her fucking name? Amanda, some shit like that. Anyway, she tells her, she's like, open the door or whatever. So she's banging on the door, and she hears like this crash or whatever. So this fool in the motherfucking hotel room bathroom getting high, of course, and she ODs, and she falls out of the bathroom door. And I guess with her falling out of the bathroom door, she kind of like, breaks or whatever. So Henrietta sees her fall. She busts inside the hotel room, and she's in the middle of kind of like administer, giving her, CPR and stuff like that. And she kind of like has this moment where it's just like, she's thinking, and I don't put it past her, because I think we all would have thought that at some point in time, that our lives would be so much easier if this hoe was dead. So she's in the middle of like giving her 911, and she stops because when she falls on the floor, you could like see the needle sticking out of her arm. It was crazy. So she does have this moment where she kind of like questions if she should even like save her life or whatever. But she's a EMT. She's a 911. She's a first responder. Like, even though she like Henrietta walked off and was gonna leave the crackhead hoe on the floor or whatever, I knew she wasn't gonna do it because of her job. I knew she just wasn't gonna like leave her there or whatever to die or whatever. And she doesn't. She ends up calling 911, and some responders show up or whatever, and they bring the old idiot back or whatever, and she's like, she wakes up, whatever, they do whatever they do to bring her back or whatever. She looks to the side, and she see Henrietta standing there, and she's like, she asks, it's the other 911 responders, you know, what is she doing here? And they're like, well, bitch, pretty much if it wasn't for her, you'd be dead. She saved your life. So she's like, so then she looks at Henrietta and was like, oh, you still love me. Henrietta like, bitch, I don't love you. It's my job. I do this shit all day, every day. I don't love you, ho. I just saved your life, whatever. And by the way, I'll call your motherfucking parole officer. And because you was getting high when you weren't supposed to be getting high while you on parole, bitch, guess where you going? Clank, clank, bitch, you're going back to jail. So the crackhead is going back to jail, but Henrietta and the wife still have to worry about the little boy's father. So we pan to Buckley and Maddie. They're like doing dinner, you know, brother sister dinner or whatever. You know, it's so cute. They're doing like dinner or whatever, and Maddie is caught telling him about the lady that was rejecting the 911 calls or whatever, and how right now she's kind of like taking her anger out on Maddie. Like she's like calling Maddie, sending her texts and shit, like threatening her and all this other stuff. So Buckley's like, you want me to handle it? And Maddie's like, nah, I got it. I just turned my phone off for a couple hours or whatever, and all this other stuff. So she pretty much tells Buckley no, she got it and all this other stuff. So we pan to Athena. She's walking up actually inside of a hospital, and we kind of find out, remember I told you guys that Chinese restaurant was robbed, but we never got the suspect or whatever. But it seems what happened was when he tried to rob the Chinese restaurant, the cook actually threw some hot grease on dude. So dude was turned up 2 days later at the hospital, and that's where we have Athena. One of the nurses actually called the police department, and she was telling Athena about how the guy just looked as suspicious. The burns that he lied about how he got burned or whatever, and basically the nurse knew he was lying, so she called the cops or whatever. So when Athena and a nurse actually go to the room where dude is, he had already done snuck off whatever. So Athena tells the nurse, like, you know, back up, I got it, whatever. And she searches for dude. He was actually inside of, it looks like I guess one of those rooms where they put like all the medicines or whatever. I guess the dude was gonna like steal some medicine, whatever, and then try to like leave the hospital or whatever, because I guess he assumed that, you know, somebody was gonna call the cops or whatever. And I guess he was trying to get out of there before the cops came, but he never made it. He got inside of the medicine room or whatever and passed the fuck out. So Athena ended up calling. His old dumbass ended up getting caught anyway. Old dumbass. So so we pan to Maddie. She's back at the 911 center, and the old lady is still calling her, pretty much like going off and all this other stuff. And Maddie's like, bitch, stop calling me. Hung up on her. She goes sit at her desk where she starts to take 911 calls. And the lady actually calls into the 911 center and actually gets fucking Maddie. Isn't that something? So anyway, she's just like going off on Maddie, like your generation and all this other stuff. So Maddie's like, it's not my fault that you weren't even doing my job. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and let you do this bullshit. Like, you hung up on people that were in desperate and dire need. You hung up on people, whatever. So anyway, the lady's like going off and off and off on Maddie, and her dumb ass ends up getting into her own accident. And she was trying to like avoid, like, and I think it was a fucking black cat. See? Karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. So anyway, she ends up getting into an accident, and Maddie actually ends up saving her life. And we find out why the lady, not to excuse it, but we do find out why the lady was hanging up on people. She's like in a car. It was a real bad accident. Like she was fucked up. So she's like, You know, she was telling Maddie, and I think another lady came in. She actually heard Maddie taking a call from the woman or whatever, and she actually listened in on Maddie's phone call or whatever, and they found out why the lady was hanging up on calls. And she was pretty much telling them that sometimes you get these calls at the 911 centers where you actually uh, where you can't do anything. She said what it was, but I can't remember it offhand right now. Where you can't do anything, you actually just have to listen in on someone. And she actually got one of those calls, and it was this young girl. She was in the middle of a robbery, and the woman actually heard the person that was doing the robbery. He was going around shooting everybody, so everybody he killed, she heard each and every gunshot, and she just couldn't take it. And that ended up being her first hang up. She hung up on the young lady in the middle of a robbery, in the middle of being murdered in a robbery or whatever. So and then it just snowballed from that. So we actually have it where Cap and the crew, they actually get to the lady and they save her and stuff like that. We pan to Athena. Athena don't be playing no motherfucking games, child. Let me tell y'all. That boy came out of the hospital, and Athena was like, I got some questions for you. But first, I'm going to read you your rights. She don't be playing. She was automatically like, you have the right to remain silent with your whole burnt ass face and everything. You're still going to jail. This shit is hysterical. And then we have the scene between Henrietta and Athena. And Henrietta had actually asked Athena to get information on the dude that helped father the child with her ex crackhead girlfriend or whatever. And kind of find out the guy did have some problems, like way back in the day, like 7 years before he lost his wife. He got it, he ended up, getting into some trouble, was on drugs. I think it was drugs, alcohol, whatever, but he really had a bad rap like 7 years ago. But he was actually able to turn himself around. So he was pretty much like this upstanding dude. And Henrietta was pretty much nervous because she's just like, what if he wants company? What if he wants company? What if he wants custody? Like, what are we going to do? She was just really nervous and really, really like upset. Like, he's the father. Like, he has all these rights. Like, what are we going to do? And all this other stuff. So, Athena's just pretty much like telling her, like, you got to have faith. You can't assume that everybody that comes inside of your life is out to do something bad, to do, something evil towards you, whatever. You got to have faith that maybe this dude, yes, he's a father, and yes, he does have parental rights and stuff like that, but you got to have faith that maybe this dude isn't your crackhead ex-girlfriend, that maybe he has good intentions, that maybe he will see what you and your wife, how you and your wife are treating this little boy, how you and your wife are raising this little boy, and he might, he may not want to take him away from y'all. You got to have faith. You just had she was just giving her really, really good advice. And, she was just being a good friend. I love the relationship between Henrietta and Athena, because it's just, we don't see that a lot on TV. On TV or in movies and stuff, where you have like black women like in these strong relationships. It always have to be like some contention or some problems and stuff like that. But I love Athena and Henrietta's relationship. And the fact that, you have a straight woman and a queer woman, and they have this strong sister vibe. It's just really beautiful to see. So I just loved how she was just kind of like, just trying to like calm and soothe Henrietta, just trying to get her, not to be so nervous and not to be, you know, so suspect of this guy. He might just come in with very good intentions. And it ends up that he does. He pretty much tells Henrietta and a wife that he sees what they're doing with the little boy, and he doesn't want anything to change. However they see fit of how he should fit in this little boy's life, that's what he's gonna go with. Just give him some type of direction, and that's what he's gonna do. And it turns out to be a really, really good thing for Henrietta and her wife. And we pan to the end of the scene, and we have where everybody's like sitting at the firehouse, and they're like having dinner and stuff like that. And Henrietta tells everybody that it's kind of like works out, and Athena's standing there like, and she's like, yeah, you were right, Athena, and stuff like that. So it was really, really cute. And Bobby like takes Athena's hand. He's just like kisses it, and he's like, I just find it's best not to argue with her because she's always right. It's cute. I love their relationship. Y'all better not fuck it up. 911. Y'all better not fuck it up. So but it was a really good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. So this season is great. I love it so far. I have no complaints. I just love this whole family aspect of the show. Like how these characters are really becoming like not just good friends, but this really awesome family. Multicultural, big old diverse family. I love it. So anyway, guys, that is it for 911, and until the next episode, later days. Bye.